So I realized for these last 2 weeks we've been talking about it's Oscar nominated, but the Oscar nominations haven't been released yet. I read an article that had like predictions that I thought was actually them being announced. So that's kind of on me. My bad. Oscar nominations aren't coming out until like the 24th. But last night was the Golden Globes.
Cool. Did you watch them?
No. I'm What?
I don't know. It's just the way you said it. It's like, yeah, let's know with the Golden Globes. Oh, cool. Do you watch them? No?
Well, you know the whole controversy with Brendan Fraser and the Golden Globes, right?
No, what?
One of the people that Brendan Fraser called out for being like sexually abusive towards him, it was like the lead of the Golden Globes, and and they're still in charge of them. So like he was nominated for The Whale, and he just refused to go.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
But this movie won Best Movie.
The Whale?
No, this.
Oh, this. Oh. Mm-hmm. Have you watched The Whale yet?
Not yet. Oh. It's only in theaters.
That's a thing. Mm-hmm. We tried watching it.
Taylor and I were talking about going and seeing it, but it's leaving theaters like this week or something.
We were trying to watch Avatar the other night, and I was like, God, I hate this movie. Fucking hate Avatar.
No, you're talking about the James Cameron.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, not that.
Not The Last Airbender.
No, not that movie.
We should review that one.
The M. Night one? The M. Night one? The live action one?
Just talk shit about it.
I mean, we could do that because the new live action series is coming out.
It's true,
we could time that out if we wanted to.
Ugh, God.
We could do a whole whitewashing block.
Whoa.
Oh, I did think of a block. We can get into the episode after this. I did think of a block, though, of like, okay, I don't really know how to word it. But I was going through Netflix and I put on I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry.
Oh, God, yeah.
And movies that like just became really offensive over time.
That was offensive when it came out.
Exactly. Yeah. But then you're sitting there, you're just like watching, you're like, man, this really did not age well in any way, shape, or form.
It didn't age well as soon as it came out.
I know, but I still think that movie's funny.
Oh, man.
It's so terrible.
All right, let's get into this.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
What's up, everybody? Yo, hi, yo.
What up, homies?
We have our friendship is intact, other than like this movie.
Yeah. This was an interesting watch. We are doing we're still part of our 2022 block with the Banshees of.
You can do it.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
Inisherin?
Yeah, you got me second.
Inisherin. The Banshees of Irish.
Inisherin.
Old Irish is an interesting language.
It is, yeah.
And it's hard for me to
And Inisherin is a fake island for this movie.
Off
the shore of the mainland of Ireland.
Ireland, yes. But yes, it is the Banshees of Inisherin. Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
The Banshees of Ed Sheeran. I didn't do okay, let's do it off the fly. The premise of the movie is two friends get into a fight.
Yeah, I mean,
and we're watching
have a falling out.
They have a falling out. That's what the entire premise of this movie is.
It's painful. It's painful to watch.
It is. It's like ugh.
Yeah. It's watching a messy breakup.
Yeah, and Colin Farrell is just kind of like pathetic in it.
I know. He's so good, though.
He's really good. When was the release?
All right, so there was a bunch of releases, actually. Yeah. So, God damn, this is going to bother me so much that it sounds so weird like this. Sorry. it's taking me out. But, so it was released at the Venice Film Festival on September 5th.
Okay.
And then it had a slew of other film festivals, kind of like Pinocchio did last week. And then it had a limited theatrical release October 21st, and then finally officially released in the U.S. November 4th of last year.
Okay.
So it was like a month and a half of or I guess 2
like
film festivals and
stuff. On HBO Max.
Oh yeah, it's on HBO Max.
If you
to
are
stream
interested in
for
watching
free,
it.
or to stream if you have HBO Max.
Yeah.
It was number 6 domestic domestic box office and 82 worldwide. I thought it was gonna be higher worldwide, maybe, but no. Yeah. Its ratings on IMDb was 7.9, has a 97 tomato meter rating, and a 76 audience score. This is definitely like this is definitely more of like, it's a thinker a little bit. That's not really even a thinker in a weird way.
It's not.
It's just dense in its own way, and it's very much Martin McDonagh.
Yes, Martin McDonagh, who is the director, who we've done before with Seven Psychopaths, also known for In Bruges, which I've mentioned a few times, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. Also writer for this too, a director that does a lot of their own writing.
Yes, for film he does his own. If he's directing it, it's something he's written.
Yeah.
He's also a really well-known playwright. I brought up as well, like that he has the only one of his plays that's actually set in the U.S. is A Beheading in Spokane, and then his most famous one, which is The Pillow Man, which David actually asked me to be a part of a production of it in Spokane, which I think you would really like that story.
What is it that?
So it's this guy who like writes like adult fairy tales. Like he writes a bunch of short stories that's like, that involves like children being like murdered and stuff and whatnot. And then a slew of child murders ends up happening in lieu of the same way of his stories. So these detectives think he's the one that's doing it, so they put him under investigation. It's like a 4-person play type thing, and it just kind of unfolds of like what actually happens through it all. And it's a mental fuckery of a play. It's really, really good, but I can't really, take a month off to live in Spokane to perform in it.
Hey, Tommy, you seem to like this. It's about a bunch of child murders. That's basically what you just said.
I know you like your macabre and
It's just how that kind of played out was kind of
fun. Yeah. So, we've already done Martin McDonagh. I mean, actually, just like with a lot of the people that end this, we're probably just going to get into the meat of the goddamn movie pretty quick.
I've upgraded to 2 more. I've seen 32 now.
Damn, you've actually watched that much?
Yeah.
2020. Wow.
Yeah.
I've only been watching what we've been watching.
It's what we were talking about the other day. It's because everything is streaming.
Yeah.
I just end up watching stuff that I don't.
Oh, well, I did watch The Menu.
I watched that too.
Yeah. That's right. We kind of have a brief conversation about that.
I thought that was stupid.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
I thought it was really stupid.
The entire time I was watching, I was like, I can't believe this is happening. This is so good.
Yeah,
like, I was literally saying that out loud.
I thought it was really stupid. Any Winkle.
All right. So, yeah, written, directed, Martin McDonagh, starring Colin Farrell, who we've done 3 times now.
I know. I thought that was really interesting because we did The Lobster, Seven Psychopaths, and
this now.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's weird. It's totally by accident.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like we're not like huge Colin Farrell fans. Like,
no.
I like him, but I don't know.
I didn't like the guy for so long.
You hated him. Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, you hated Colin Farrell for a long time.
He plays Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick.
Patrick.
Old Irish Patrick.
Oh, okay.
That's basically what it is. It's Patrick.
And then opposite, I mean, he's kind of like, he's the lead more or less through this movie.
Weirdly enough, I find the sister to be more of the more.
She's like, it's like, I feel like it's them two and then Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah.
But it's more of the story between Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell.
Yeah, and Brendan Gleeson plays Colm.
And Brendan Gleeson, he's also in Bruges with Colin Farrell, also a Martin McDonagh movie. And then he's probably, I think, is best known for Mad Eye Moody.
I would say for a very, for an American audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like if you're into like English UK movies, then you'd probably recognize him from other stuff. But for an American audience, probably Mad Eye Moody. Mm-hmm. He's in The Village, which I was trying to remember him in The Village. I'm sure he's just like the elder.
Well, I thought it's like he's also in Edge of Tomorrow, which we reviewed. So we've done 2 movies now with Brendan Gleeson.
He's in Edge of Tomorrow.
He's the guy that Tom Cruise is trying to go meet at the end.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So just like a little.
He has a small role.
Little bit.
Smaller role.
Yeah.
Like he's the colonel that throws him in for court martialing.
Right. Okay. And then the sister is played by Kerry
Condon. The character's name is Shaban.
I thought it was funny. She's Friday from Avengers.
Yeah, I never noticed that. Yeah, she's the voice of Friday in the MCU, and then she's also in 3 Billboards. Another Martin McDonagh does like to work with the same people a lot.
Yeah. And I also recognize her from Rome. I don't know if you ever watched.
I never watched Rome.
No.
Yeah.
But it's a sexy show.
And then I would say probably the next the next actor in this to mention is Barry Keoghan.
Joker, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he's in the Batman he's credited as unknown Arkham Asylum patient or something.
Eternals.
Yep.
You were talking shit about him a little while ago.
I said something about him. He was like a punchable face.
Yeah, something like that. You're like, he's a
that's actually that's exactly how I describe it. It's like he's the kid with the face.
Something like that. Yeah.
And you were like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's got a great nose.
Yeah. He plays Dominic, and actually he's had a lot. Like looking at his list, I was like, I actually kind of want to watch some of this stuff. There's like
The Killing of the Sacred Deer.
That's Martin McDonagh too, isn't it?
I don't
know. No.
That's A24.
It's we did one of their movies. Jorgen, he did The Lobster. The guy that did The Lobster.
Yeah, and that's why we started talking about Killing of the Sacred Deer. We're like, and again, I had the same thing. I was like, man, I really want to watch this.
Yeah.
I always forget about it.
Yeah. And then, there's some other, there's, I don't know, did you make a list? Did you add anybody else? I mean, I think the police officer, but I didn't put his name down.
Well, because it's just like, it's such an isolated incident that you're really focusing on them. Yeah. So I was like, because even the cop, it's like, he's not really... He's more of like weirdly he's more of a prop than he is a character.
He's kind of a representation of a force.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's not really like a character.
Yeah, his character is more of a metaphor. If you really want to dig into like where Martin McDonagh is really going with this movie.
Yeah,
which I feel is like it's something that I can't really deliberate much on, but I definitely feel there's something about like, what does it mean to be like Irish heritage in a way, not heritage, but like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
There's like
Kerry. Is she Irish too? Because I know all the other ones are Irish.
Oh, is Barry Irish?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but Colin, Brendan, and Barry are all actually Irish. I didn't. Oh. I think Brendan was born actually in Dublin.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, he was born in Dublin. I don't know.
Where was I going with that?
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you. I just was curious.
I mean, that's going into like review-y stuff anyway. So,
she's Irish too.
Cool. I think you can just get into your reviews, and we can get into talking about this because I mean, there's really not much else to talk about right now. Oh, it's the same cinematographer that he used in 3 Billboards.
I still haven't seen that. Have you seen that yet?
I
haven't seen that one yet.
Because like the cinematography in this movie is great as well.
I mean, the movie is beautiful.
Yeah.
And also just Ireland is just a really beautiful country too.
Yeah.
Very green and
Ireland is like it's an island off of Ireland. I was at first at the beginning of it. I was like, wait, what time period is this supposed to be? Is this supposed to be present?
It takes place on my birthday.
Oh, around your birthday, but yeah.
Well, no, the
first day.
The first day is April 1st.
Yeah.
1923.
Yeah, it's 1923. So I was like, oh, okay.
And fun fact for everyone, because I didn't know this, there are 80 islands that make Ireland. Like there's the big island, there's one, and 20 of those are inhabited, which I just thought was kind of crazy.
Inhabited?
They are there are people on them.
Yeah, only 20 of them.
Only 20 of them.
Yeah.
I think also it's like kind of like with like Hawaii and stuff like that. There's a lot of islands that are so small.
Yeah,
it's technically an island, but it's like okay,
it's like a house could fit on there.
Yeah, you could step on it and then turn around and
I claim this island.
It's mine. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
What's your name?
Don't bring my mother into this. But yeah, I just thought that I was just like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So what do you got for reviews?
So there are 58 positive, 4 mixed, 0 negative. which I kind of was surprised there wasn't a negative. Someone just being like,
I didn't
like it. I didn't like it. But let's see. Who did I pick? I forgot to write down their scores. So I have to find them on here real quick. So for a positive, 100 out of 100, Kyle Smith at the Wall Street Journal. Wounded but funny. Quiet but resonant. And resistant to anything like a Hollywood formula. The Banshees is strangely profound little comedy. It's one of the few true originals among movies this year. Which, yeah. I mean, I picked that because I liked it goes so against the Hollywood formula.
Yeah.
Because it really does. This movie is its own. We always talk about like it knows what it is. This movie is very much.
It knows very much
what it is. And it's one of those I find interesting because you're going to like it or you're not going to.
Oh, 100%.
I don't think there's going to be middle ground with people. I think it's like you like it or you don't. And that's why I thought it was weird. There was no negatives.
I think that it goes to show just like how well crafted of a story it is. Like anybody who's reviewing this, you have to take respect in like just how concise the story is actually told.
True, that's true. Yeah, I mean, because before we get to where do you stand on this?
Like it. What do you mean?
Did you like it?
I did. I enjoyed it very much.
Okay. Excuse me. Sorry. Burp got stuck.
You said you watched it twice.
I watched it twice. Yeah.
Did you enjoy it both times?
Not particularly. It's one of those I'm on that camp. It's like you like it or don't. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's amazing. Like, objectively, yes. I think it's a wonderful film, but it's probably something I'm never going to watch again.
Yeah.
And it's just because I don't know. Like we were saying, it's uncomfortable.
It is.
It's an uncomfortable movie, and it's like it has this like humor to it, but it's not my kind of humor.
Oh, it's very much my kind of humor. It's in a vein of my kind of humor.
Well, and it's like, and that's the thing too. It's like
very much like oh man, that's happening.
But like with Martin too, it's like In Bruges. That movie is very much my humor, and I see his thumbprint on this, but it didn't
in the dialogue. How the dialogue clicks.
Yeah, and it didn't resonate with me. And I mean, also it's just because Colin and Brendan are just they're great together. They have really great chemistry.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, it just really, I don't know. But yeah, like I watched it twice because as I told you off mic, I was just kind of like, I'm missing something. I need to watch this again because there's something I'm not getting. And by the second time, I was still like, yeah, no.
Still didn't get it?
I got it more, but I just didn't. I was just like, okay, like that happened. I mean, like I said, it's beautiful. The cinematography is beautiful, and it's just because it's just a pretty land, But anyways,
Cole's out of his fucking mind.
Yeah, for real. Close that. What? Uh-oh.
What'd you do?
I don't know. Excuse me. I lost it.
You closed the browser.
I did.
Rookie mistake.
Okay, I got it. I'm going. Okay, and then everyone. The man behind the curtain. And then for the mixed, I think her name was Alexis. 50 out of 100, Alexis Potter, at Arizona Republic. It's visually stunning, well written, and acting is top notch, but without context, the plot falls flat, leaving behind an unsettling and bizarre film.
Yeah, what do you mean without context? Like, what does she mean by that? Like, what context do you need to have to understand this movie?
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. But without context, the plot. I mean, the plot is kind of flat, but that's kind of the point. It's like it's very an isolated incident.
Yeah, it's like
two men. In
simply
their 20s.
put, it's about two friends having a falling out.
Yeah,
like.
But
the ramifications of what that does to those around them as well.
Yeah, well, but it's also like it's a friend decides to stop being friends with someone, unbeknownst to them, and it's them trying to figure out what. Because even in the beginning too, like, are you Rowan? I don't think we are. Like he's like,
Rowan.
Did I get drunk and do something? And he even apologizes to him. He's like, I'm sorry if I got drunk and said something. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, just like Colm, just finally is like,
I just don't like you.
I just don't like you anymore.
It's sad.
Like, no, yeah, it truly is. Like watching like Patrick like deal with this and like have breakdown after break. It's like he's spiraling.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. And then like it eventually like it goes like at the very last shot. It's like they've changed each other so much for this that there's no. It's like that's a thing. That's a big thing with Martin McDonagh is like in such a short period of time, how much can people change? You know?
Yeah.
And like so much changes for the two of them in such a short period of time that there's no coming back.
Yeah.
Like, when they're standing on that beach, they are now both two broken men.
Also,
just standing on the shore, being washed into nothing.
It's also like, yeah, Combs like a psychopath. Like every time you bug me, I'm gonna chop off a finger. Like, what the fuck is that about?
The biggest, yeah, no, like that's like the circumstances that Martin McDonagh creates in this movie are to the extreme, and you don't. It's like someone like Colin tells Patrick, he's like, if you talk to me again, I will chop off a finger and I will deliver it to you. And for every time I will chop another finger off and I will deliver that finger to you. Do not talk to me again. And if you do not think I will do this, then you are wrong and do not tempt me. And lo and behold, Patrick goes and fucks up and talks to him because Patrick can't he wants his best friend, you know?
Yeah.
You know, he's having a hard time. Like, oh, and it's a small island. Like, how the fuck are they supposed to, avoid each other? You know,
yeah, it's like
there's one fucking pub that they go to drink at together.
Yeah, it's like even when there's the scenes at the church, it's like it's a village of like 20 people.
Yeah,
if that, you know,
there's the other side of the island where like the other stuff's dropped off and whatnot. But like, yeah, it's just like it's gonna be inevitable for them to like bump into each other type thing or see each other. Like, I could see it's like just don't try to be chummy with me. Like, we can acknowledge each other's existence, but I just don't like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to drink with you. I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah. Cole makes it such a fucking cut and dry thing that it's just like, it's unreasonable to a point. Which then makes...
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
He's being completely unreasonable.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like, I can understand the whole thing. Like, you think that Patrick... And also, the sad thing is, like, through this entire movie, you're seeing again and again how Patrick is actually... he's not a very smart person. He is a very simple-minded, nice guy.
Yeah.
You know?
He's dull.
Yeah.
That's what he keeps calling him, right?
Yeah, they keep calling him. He's dull. And like even that moment with Dominic, who like Dominic is like the island's like dimwit, I guess, you know, Gom.
The village idiot.
Yeah. Like he even had like when they're having dinner, he like, you know, him and Shaban are having like a back and forth, and Shaban says something to him like, you know, crass, and he's like, "Ooh, touche," and Patrick's like, "Touche, what is that?" And Dominic's like, "It's a French word for like, you know, you got me" type thing. And you can see Patrick's fucking just heart break, like, "Oh, dude, this guy's smarter than me."
Yeah.
After him and his sister just had this conversation about like, "Well, I'm not as dumb as Dominic," you know? Like,
yeah.
You know, like Patrick is having this huge existential crisis because of Colm leaving him, abandoning him pretty much, cutting him out. And like Patrick doesn't know how to doesn't know how to like cope with it. And so like when he finally when he breaks the rule that Colm puts up, and Colm actually chops his fucking fingers off
with fucking
sheep shears. And Colm's whole thing is like, you're dull. Like, sorry, did you have?
No, I was thinking about what Alexa said. This movie is very bizarre.
Yeah.
It's a very bizarre film. Because of this too, because of the escalation. Like the last 20 minutes of it, the escalation was like he chopping off all his fingers, and then the donkey dies, and then he sets the house on fire, and you're like, wait, what? Wait, what?
It's one of those things where I always say is like, it's like what happens in the movie, it needs to top the next thing. It needs to escalate to the next level. And
it's just so quick.
I know.
Because of how long this movie is, like what, an hour and 55 minutes?
Yeah.
And like nothing really happens.
It takes about an hour for the first finger to get chopped off.
Yeah, but like nothing happens for like the first hour. You're literally just watching him go from his house to his friend's house to the pub back to his friend's house, back to his house, go to sleep, try again. Just that's all you're watching is a dull dude being dull.
Well, a dull dude being dull, but like also trying to he's like. There's moments where all of a sudden he's more appealing to Colm when he's drunk, and then Colm's like, "That's the most interesting he's ever been." I think.
When he he calls him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's all see, and that's another thing is and this movie would never happen if that's the thing is Colm could have been like, look, just try to be more interesting and I'll hang out with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to he kind of does say that. He's like, you talked about your fucking donkey's shite for 2 hours. What was in his shite for 2 hours?
I timed it, and he's like, I was talking about my horse, so that shows how much you're listening.
Yeah.
But then it's that's a good point too, because it's even you're really interested in music, and
he's an intellectual.
And but it's why don't you then introduce your friend to this? This aspect of your life.
And what's interesting is you can see when people start to get a little bit more intellectual with stuff with Patrick, you see a sense of panic on his face. Mm-hmm. And he knows oh, I don't know what this is. So his defense mechanism is either to just shut up and run away, be quiet, or detract to something that he knows, to what he knows about.
Yeah.
It's because even if you look at the designs of the two houses, Colm's house has the masks. It's full of culture. It's full of art and stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then when you go to Patrick's house with his sister, it's very dull.
It's simple. It's a farmhouse.
Yeah.
It's a simple farmhouse.
There's the table.
Yeah.
They have the pot. Their stove.
Yeah.
The beds. The animals aren't allowed inside. and Siobhan has her books in her spot. That's the books are the only bit of culture in that house.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so it's a representation of even how they live and who they are.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't really think about that. I didn't. I noticed that Colm's house had more of art in the masks, and I noticed that, because they even show really focus on that when the house is burning down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, because that's it's Patrick destroying Colm's passion, his culture.
Yeah.
It's you and also that's also in response you took the last thing that I cared about.
Well, yeah, his dullness, and that's kind of what the whole movie is about too. His dullness is he doesn't want. He wants to create something. He wants to create a legacy. So he wants to create. Yeah, he wants to create this song that will last the generations after his passing, and he's worried that the dullness will put that fire out of him.
Yeah,
and then lo and behold, the dull person destroys his. Yeah, it's like a whole allegory in itself.
Well, no, and it's in a weird sense, it's kind of a metaphorical thing of if you it's kind of if you don't embrace the dull side of things, it will destroy what you want to create. Mm-hmm. There needs to be that balance of the two. Mm-hmm. The Colm is very much the extreme idea of I actually have written down as it's a question. Is it better to be dull or is it better to be an intellectual? Because if you look at it a person that's dull, it's interesting to be using this word dull,
Yeah.
But that's kind of I look at that as an ignorant person, They're not knowledge with anything, very much of stuff, so they live a very blissful life, very happy life without knowing.
Ignorance is bliss kind of thing, yeah.
I take care of my donkey, and I clean up his shit, and I was like, oh, so that's, you find, a little piece of yarn, oh, so you did eat that sweater. I knew it was you little ass, But then the intellectual, the person that actually has knowledge of what's happening in the world and around them, and then then you have worries and anxiety over am I being a good person? Am I being mannerful at this place? Is this how is this other things affecting the world over here?
But
it's where knowledge is a curse.
But I think in this particular situation, though, it's with Colm, it's a superiority complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks he's
just better than
he's better because he's not dull.
Fair,
I can't hang out with you because you're so dull and I'm not, that's the whole premise of, even he thinks it's so important for him not to be around this dull person that he's willing to
prove a point to chop off his fingers.
Yeah, maim himself.
Yeah.
To get this point across. That's how important it is that he doesn't. And it's like that's what I mean. It's weird because it's also like he's trying to compose this song on the fiddle. Well, you think then you would want to protect your hand.
Mm-hmm. But then that's kind of like the thing of like proving to Patrick of like how serious he is about not wanting this friendship.
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like it's the superiority complex. It's like he's that.
Quite narcissistic, yeah.
Yeah, his time is so like important that he's willing to
and it's
destroy
also,
his hand.
And then it's like, yeah, I destroyed my hand because you
made me do that.
You made me do that.
And it's like you're out of your goddamn mind, Colm.
Yeah.
And that's also what's interesting. That's kind of an interesting point too. Is that with what's his name? Not Colm. Patrick. Patrick. Well, with Patrick too, he's that he also is so kind of like a nitwit that he's not seeing this red flag. It's like, he chopped off his finger and threw it at your door. Wash your hands of it. You don't need to be around that craziness. And anyone with any kind of common sense would be like, I'm not going to be anywhere near this guy. He's a goddamn lunatic.
But Siobhan's just kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like, sure. She's like, leave it alone, dude, And then he can, and then it ends up, like killing his best friend. I mean, well, his pet.
By accident.
But I mean, like...
Well, also, Siobhan's leaving the abandonment that he has.
That's interesting.
What?
Jenny, the donkey.
Yeah.
Gets killed by the finger.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What?
No, I don't know. There's like a weird parallel between the two.
Unbox it. Yeah, talk about it.
Well, no, just like, because it's just part of the whole. I don't know. I'm having a hard time putting it together. But Colin Farrell and the donkey.
Yes.
The finger killing the donkey.
Colm's finger.
But what I was just talking about is like, anyone with any common sense would have removed themselves from the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Farrell's the donkey.
Yeah.
Being killed by the finger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'm having a hard.
that's a great metaphor of an idea. Yeah.
Like it just dawned on me.
No, because as soon as Jenny is dead, Patrick is no longer the same. He is now a changed person.
Yeah, and that's when he decides to burn the house down. Mm-hmm. It's like, make sure and it gives him fair warning.
What's crazy about that is that now Patrick is no longer dull.
No, he's like,
he is now an interesting person who has a vendetta.
Yeah.
Who now has...
I think it's sweet that he's like, get your dog out of the house because I'm setting your house on fire.
Yeah.
With you in it or not. But I don't want to get your dog, though.
He's like, I'll kill you, but not... I'll like...
Yeah, that's such a like... Okay. This is like a weird escalation. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying earlier, too. It's just like the weird escalation in this movie. That's the bizarre thing about it.
Yeah, well, so that's what it is. I did see a quick little video, it's like a TikTok type of video of an Irishman kind of doing a light, 30-second review of the movie. And he said that he's never seen a movie that speaks to Irish identity. Like, what does it mean of an Irish identity so well as a movie like this? Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's interesting because I don't know what an Irish. I have no knowledge of that.
Well, it's also like it's taking place in the 20s too, and that's when the Civil War was going
down. It's literally taking course in the final months of the Irish Civil War.
Yeah, and it's just a kind of an interesting setting. Like you just hear the battle happening off in the distance.
It makes me wonder because I don't know anything really about the Irish Civil War. What is the parallel of their two relationships, like their friendship and how it's being torn apart by what Colm is doing, mm-hmm. and what the two if you look at it's a civil war. There's this side that believes in this and this side that believes in this. What about their relationship is kind of a reflection of what was happening at that time in the Irish Civil War, which I think that's what I did a little bit of look into it, and it seems like that is kind of what McDonah is kind of trying to go for, but I just don't know enough about the Irish Civil War to really extrapolate that.
So you're saying that this small isolated incident between the two friends is an allegory for the bigger
100%, yes,
what was happening,
and that's why I think it's winning awards.
Yeah,
because especially where you have the police officer that was saying that he represents a force, a metaphor of an idea, because especially when you find out that he's going to go to the mainland to like help execute some I guess rebel.
I think he said
he doesn't even know what side he's executing for.
I think I saw a brief mention of like the IRA, and he's just kind of like, I don't know.
He's like, I don't know if it's for these people or for these people, but
it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun because I get to watch people get executed because he's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah,
he's beating up Dominic, his son, which Dominic's story, side story, is tragic in its own right.
Yeah,
which then makes
it's not really explain how he dies, right?
No, it's just he's just found dead in the water.
Yeah,
but you don't know if that's because he killed himself, which I could predict. I could see that as a factor.
Yeah, or like
because of like how
he just got drunk and
fell in.
Yeah,
I mean the way that as they bring up like what the cop as his father was doing to him, being abusive.
Yeah,
and then he throws himself at Shaban in a way, and Shaban gently does turn him down.
Yeah,
very like sweetly.
That's a great name,
Shaban. Mm-hmm. I love that name too.
That's really cool.
And then that's the last time you see him on screen, if I remember correctly, until
his death. Yeah,
yeah,
you don't
until
see him
his
again.
body is found. Yeah. And also that the old woman predicts the one death, possibly even two deaths on the island. Jenny the donkey and Dominic. So literally these two men.
It's funny too. She's the banshee.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, I mean, it's like, because a banshee.
Well, also, what's great about that is how Colm says, like, I want to name this song the Banshees of Inisherin, and I like to think that the Banshees are no longer they're not as vocal, they're not up front. Now they're just lying back into the seaside, waiting and watching and quietly speaking.
But I just thought it was funny because, like, a banshee, especially in Irish folklore, is an omen of
death.
Death.
They're the heralder of death.
Yeah.
Specifically for a family member.
Yeah.
But
there's interesting.
No, very. But what's so interesting about that as well is that's one of those moments where you see that Patrick is, he's asking Colin, like, how is your son coming along? He's trying really hard to be not a dull friend and understand what his friend is doing. And then when Colm's like, I want to call it the Banshees of Inisherin, and explains that, and then Patrick's like, well, there are no more banshees, right? And you can see Colin just like, he's like, God damn it, you dumb motherfucker. Like it's heartbreaking. Like no, that scene when after Patrick stands up, like he's trying to give news, whatnot. It's so fucking horrible. Calling out the fucking cop for beating Dominic, and the cop starts beating up Patrick, and Colm picks up Patrick, puts him on the cart. They ride together in silence. Patrick just starts breaking down crying because he's like, it's like this man still cares for him in some capacity, but just doesn't want to be his friend anymore.
I think my favorite scene is the confession.
Which one? The second one?
When Colm is confessing and the priest is like...
Oh, yeah, there's two of them.
Yeah, but when the priest is like, that's it? You don't want to talk about self-mutilation?
Yeah.
And he's just like, no. He's like, you're a total sociopath.
Yeah.
You're out of your goddamn mind.
But it's like, because even like in that scene in Colm's house, and this goes to the sociopath thing, is Patrick, Colm's like, I even imagined playing it at your wedding or at your funeral. Your funeral. But I guess that's not going to happen now, is it?
Yeah.
Like he's saying right there, I'm chopping off the rest of my fingers.
Yeah.
And Patrick can't get that.
Yeah.
So.
What a weird little movie.
Fuck, dude. Martin McDonagh, man.
He's a weird little guy.
I got to watch In Bruges now.
Yeah, you do. I think you'd really like In Bruges.
I mean, yeah, it's really interesting. It's like that's really all to really talk about. It's like it's not a simple movie,
but it
has a very simple message through it. It feels, but that's also still can be very complex.
I think it's a simple packaging.
Yeah,
because it's just like it's in the small village. there's 3 people really that you're following around.
Oh, Shaban. Also, really quick, the Padrick's abandonment, like, which is, it's like Shaban also, she can't stand being on the island anymore. She can't stand having.
She wants culture.
She wants culture. You know?
So she gets a job at a library.
She gets offered a job at a library on the mainland,
and then even offers like the second bed to her brother to like come be, and he doesn't want to. But that's even the thing too. That's an interesting like way to look at it, is that everyone has, not everyone, but the people we're following has a problem with him being quote unquote dull, but he doesn't have a problem with it, if that makes sense.
Well, it wasn't.
And that kind of goes into your ignorance is bliss thing.
It wasn't a problem to him until it became a problem.
Until everyone else had a problem with it.
Well, until just Colm had a problem with it.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, but like but the sister, she doesn't have a problem with him being dull. She doesn't want the dull farm life. She wants more. Mm-hmm. But he's very content taking care of the animals and
that's
living
what he likes. Like
this simple lifestyle.
When it's Padrick and the bartender and one of the patrons, and he's like asking him, he's like, so, I mean, you guys don't think I'm like dull or like like something like an idiot, like, and they're like, oh no. I mean, you're a nice man.
Yeah. You're nice. Yeah.
And it's like, and the way they keep saying it nice, he's like, you know, I always wanted to like think I was a nice man, but now that you're saying it like that, I don't know if I like it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't really, he's not really picking up what everybody's throwing down, you know. Exactly. And it was
not
also,
reading between the lines.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Is like you don't really think of Colin. Like I find very interesting Colin Farrell playing this type of character, because I think it's very much against type for him.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's like he just. No, but it's, I don't know. It's he plays a lot like the Lobsters.
That's what I was like, the Lobster.
But also, I didn't feel like I'm like, this is so weird. This doesn't feel like a Colin. He's acting it beautifully.
Well, because even in Bruges, he's kind of a bumbling idiot. He's not an idiot.
You know what's interesting? You know what I think it is? Like, I just think Colin Farrell's too handsome of a man. That I was like, it's like, no, he's smart. Like I'm strangely associating his attractiveness with intelligence.
That's interesting. Okay.
If you're, it's definitely not. Yeah, that has nothing. There is no attraction.
There is.
Yeah. I don't actually believe that. It's just maybe it's just knowing, like seeing Colin Farrell's interviews, which goes to show just how good of an actor he is. You know,
he's a great actor. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, let's just get done wrapping it up. Like what?
Yeah, I don't really have much more to
say.
say.
Yeah.
I'm deciding. I guess. I mean, 4.
Yeah, I'm at it 4 as well.
Well, because that's the thing is like I'm probably never going to watch this again, but I see what it is and I understand why people are like, it's like you're interested in this. Watch it, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just something I'm probably never going to really watch again. I watched it twice, and I think I gave it a good college try.
Yeah,
I watched it once, and I was like, I feel like there's something I'm not getting. So
I really think that parallel of the Irish Civil War, like if we had more knowledge of that, there would be more of us to like grasp.
Yeah,
especially just that I stumbled across this guy's video, and how he's just like, I've never seen a movie that discusses Irish identity more than this movie. He's like, and even at the end of it, he's like, and I'm still thinking about it. It's like, it's a movie that makes you think, and I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think, because even like with our conversation here, I was like, oh yeah, like the donkey.
And that's why it's like, I love movies that make you think, as much as I love movies that don't make me think, I do enjoy my movie. I'm just like, yeah. Like what the?
It sticks with you.
What the fuck? It's like Pinocchio kind of made me think. It's like what is he? What? It's like with Del Toro. I was like, what is he trying to say with the story of Pinocchio? Martin McDonagh. I'm like, what is he trying to tell me about with the relationship of these two men, and how like especially just like how broke they are. Just two. One literally self-mutilated and destroyed his own hand to prove a point, and now can't play his fiddle anymore, the music that he wanted to.
The level of narcissism that Colm has is pretty interesting.
And Padrick, now a broken man with nothing, has to live with the guilt of burning a man's house down, and he's now just has nothing. He feels like his donkey is gone. Like he's a broken man as well.
Yeah.
There was on that beach was just two broken men staring out at an empty shore.
Well, and that's what's interesting too. How it ends is like basically Colm kind of thinks like we're even.
Yeah.
I killed your donkey, you burnt my house down, and Patrick's like, no, we're not. Like in a sense.
He's like, no, we'd be even if you were
dead.
If you stayed in that fucking house.
Yeah, if you were dead, then we'd be even. And you're like, oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Like, no, it's like, and now the role reversed in a way, you know, it's like now Colin, who's,
but like you said, now he's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that he has a vendetta. Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely is a movie that makes you think. It's just, it's not, it just really wasn't my cup of tea. But yeah, objectively, like 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
it was pretty great.
Oh, so with going a little last bit of that, like final bits on the beach, is I felt and I got a little bit of feeling of regret of Colm from Colm, of realizing like
kind of what he did.
Yeah, like I broke this man.
Yeah,
and feel like a feeling of sorrow.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Which is like you don't hear it in the voice. You just kind of see it in Brendan's face as he looks over at Patrick, and just like his just breaths, just like he feels bad.
Also, just Colin Farrell, man. Speaking about his acting, his look too. His eyes, his eyes say so much.
Yeah,
just the way, like it's just his face, like his face alone. But there's something about his eyes that I always find really crazy. The amount that he can act without saying anything, just from his expressions and the look in his eyes.
It's honesty, man. I'm pretty sure he might actually be trained in Meisner, which is the type of shit that I was really into. Type of acting I was. It works really well for film.
What's amazing? It's just like that's what it's just. That you're talking about, like the fact that the beach scene, he's not really saying anything, but he's saying so much just with his expressions and stuff. I was just like, Colin Farrell, especially he's getting older, because in his youth he was SWAT, he was the hot action guy, or Minority Report. No, what was
he's a Minority Report.
Yeah, but what was that reboot? Oh, Total Recall.
Oh yeah,
reboot or remake. He's just that guy, but then he has these like a Fright Night. He's the vampire. But then he has these
phone
movies.
Booth. He's the hot guy in the phone booth.
But then like Phone Booth. You like watch that and you're like, holy shit, he's a really good actor. Like Phone Booth takes place in a fucking phone booth for 2 hours and is one of the most interesting movies psychologically. It's such an interesting movie, and it's in a fucking phone booth. Yeah, no, I just think Colin Farrell, and as I was saying too, as he gets older, because he can't rely on being the hot guy.
I don't think he ever relied on that.
No, but I mean, I feel like that was a lot of it. But it's like as he gets older, like he looks great. Like, he's got to be what, like
I think it's like 50.
50? Yeah, maybe like
early
50s maybe.
Late
40s, early 50s.
40s, early 50s, yeah.
Yeah, and he still looks great, but it's like I think as he's getting older too, his acting chops are really like showing through.
Yeah.
Because he's going to do more stuff like this that is going to be more like
just nobody ever watch Alexander. Like that'll just make you think he's a horrible actor. That's why I didn't think he was a good actor for a long time.
What's her name in that?
In what? Alexander?
Yeah.
Rosario Dawson?
Yeah.
That's where your brain went?
Well, I was like, if you want to see her nude, I don't know. Like, that's all I remember about that movie. I was like, oh shit. That's all I remember about that movie.
Oh,
I was shooketh when she walked. I was just like, really? For this movie? Okay.
All right. All right. So yeah, I give this movie a 4 out of 5 as well.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Really, really good. I mean, like I said, it won a best comedy / musical Golden Globes last night.
I'm sorry. I have to apologize for that.
I was like, really? That's where your mind went?
I'm sorry. I don't know.
It's fine.
I don't know why. I'm sorry.
You know what's funny is that every time I think about Alexander, though, is I think about Jared Leto.
Oh, what about him?
He plays his best friend that's in love with him. But Alexander's in love with Rosario Dawson. So every time he runs off Rosario Dawson, you see Jared Leto go.
I don't remember Jared Leto being in that.
Yeah, he's his best friend.
He's a gay lover. Over there? Oh, what a weird movie. I'm gonna rewatch that actually. Out of just morbid curiosity.
I mean, I watched the like 4.5 hour long
The director
Oliver Stone's
thing.
director cut. Yeah,
I forgot that was Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
Weird. That is that just all of that. Colin Farrell, Jared Leto, Rosario Dawson, directed by Oliver Stone, Alexander the Great. It's like, what? So weird. It's such a weird. That's so weird.
this is a weird way to end this episode.
Yeah, for real. Sorry. I knew we were gonna have one. I didn't know that was the one that one tangent. I didn't know that was gonna be the one.
Oh man! All right, let's go and wrap it
Tell
up.
them what we're doing next week.
Next week we are doing Everything Everywhere All at Once. We're
Finishing up our 2022 block.
Keoghan won Best Supporting Actor last night, and there's Golden Globes as well.
And I haven't seen it.
Yes, you have.
I know. I was lying for the camera.
I've seen it.
Because I accidentally got them mixed up and watched it the other day.
I saw it with David in Spokane in theaters, and I haven't watched it since. So
I'm very interested to talk about that. We'll finally talk about it. We've been putting it on the...
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited to talk about it. It was one of my favorite movies of last year. So
cool. Yeah. So join us for that. Like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and we are on all your platforms for podcasting.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you want to go on to Patreon and support us, that'd be cool.
This is always cool. You don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't even. I just need people to review.
That's fair.
To get more. So yeah, if you like us, review us. If you don't like us, let us know too. What we can change and make better. We're always looking to grow. Yeah. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Peace, y'all.